Christopher Morel, the hero for the Cubs with the walk-off hit yesterday as they try to split the series today. Why is he becoming such a much better hitter at the plate? It's discipline. We're going to talk about that. Shōta Imanaga has been amazing, and he's setting records, passing Fernando Valenzuela now for the best 9-game start to a career. Wow. We're going to talk about him. Nico Hoerner is still out. Have the Cubs made a mistake not taking advantage of the IL and bringing up Luis Vazquez to help out with the infield? And what's the latest on Dansby Swanson? They made a trade, and there's some other stuff we're going to talk about as well. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the bell so when something breaks or we drop a new show, you'll be there with us. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel. Let's talk about our Cubbies. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel. I'm Mick Gillispie at Broadcaster Mick, and let's talk about the Cubs as we get ready for this Sunday matchup against the Pirates, and a game that the Cubs could win and salvage a couple of games in the series where they've had to deal with a lot of injury issues. All right, let's go back to yesterday's game and talk about the hero, at least one of them, in the win. Christopher Morel drove home Code Bellinger, a 1-0 win. And Morel is really changing as a hitter at the plate. We've seen the power. We know that he's been a power hitter his entire career, even in the minor leagues. But he used to be such a free swinger. He's gotten so much better at taking pitches, waiting on the right pitch, working at bats, taking walks. And I got to tell you, what's been super impressive to me is how his approach has changed. And it's not always about the result in the game of baseball, particularly with hitting. A lot of times it's how you get your at-bat and how you do in your at-bat. You're going to fail. I mean, you're meant to fail. I mean, like the best hitters, put the ball in play 10 times, and, how many times are they out? If you get up 10 times and you get a hit 3 times, you're one of the best players in the game. And I'd say, well, put the ball in play. But with the strikeouts, I mean, how many times do you really even put the ball in play in this game now? So what I really like about what we're seeing from Morel, and it almost feels like he's kind of taken a page out of Craig Counsell's book, the Cubs manager, is that he's patient. He's playing at bat towards at bat, pitch towards pitch. I mean, he's up there doing all of the things that he has to do to make himself a tough out, put quality at bats together. And it feels like with Craig Counsell, it's all about stacking, basically good decisions on top of good decisions. And I mean that at the plate. Look, if I'm not swinging at bad pitches and I make them throw strikes and I swing at the good pitches and I put them in play, that things are going to happen. And then Morel, with the bat, speed that he has, so dangerous, and he's becoming a really good player all the way around. His game has improved this season leaps and bounds defensively. He's gotten better at base running over the last couple of years, but him being more patient at the plate, I think, is just absolutely huge. And that's why the Cubs won the game. So they win the game. It's been a tough stretch for them. Nico Hoerner going down really hurts this team. And I'm going to tell you why. It's without Dansby Swanson and without Nico Hoerner, this is a very average defensive team. Watching the game yesterday, Miles Mastrobuoni kind of sitting back on a ground ball, but he's not a shortstop. He's not an everyday shortstop. He can play a little short, but he's not an everyday shortstop. And then, Nick Madrigal doesn't have the range that we're used to with Nico Hoerner. So there's a lot more hits than you see on balls that when you have both of those Gold Glovers there and they're healthy, plays that they make. Now, the question that I have is, why aren't the Cubs using the IL with Nico Hoerner? They must feel like he's really close to coming back. You remember it was, felt something during batting practice and his hamstring, and he hasn't been able to play since. and then you could go 3 days back, but now we're way past that. So I guess they're going to wait it out. I'm not expecting him to be in today's lineup, although I hope he is. But then you have the off day Monday, and that kind of, swings over to the latest on Dansby Swanson, which he's eligible to come off of the IL right now. He's had the knee issue, but they're saying that it's probably going to be on Tuesday. Well, I get that. You want him to get the Sunday, then he gets the Monday. So you stretch it out a little bit. Tuesday, you want to bring him back, and you hope that you have him back ready to go. But it feels like you're sacrificing some of these games because of that. And the scoring runs right now for this team is really difficult. I mean, they got absolutely worn out by two really good young pitchers, but Paul Skeens just tore them up on Friday. They couldn't score again on Saturday until the 9th inning. And you're wondering how long you can go not being able to score runs regularly to win games. Now, the reason that the Cubs haven't had a long losing streak, Javier Assad and Shōta Imanaga. And as good as Assad has been, and I say good when I really want to use the word great, Shōta Imanaga has been great-er. And that's crazy to say, right? But the guy pitched 7 innings, gave up 4 hits and no runs, had a walk and 7 strikeouts. He walked the first batter of the ball game, and then after that was absolutely locked in. But what's amazing is that Imanaga's ERA right now is .84. It's the lowest in a pitcher's first 9 career starts, ERA-wise, in both leagues ever since 1913, right? And what's even more impressive is, do you remember Fernando Mania? Some of you guys might not be old enough. Now, I remember I was a kid, a young kid, but when Fernando Valenzuela came from Mexico and joined the Dodgers in 1981, Fernando Mania took off, and it was because the guy had a .91 ERA through his first 9 starts, under 1. And I can still see him, the left-handed throw, like you got to look up and then you bring the pitch in. Loved Fernando Valenzuela, what he brought to the game. And I think that, Mexican Latinos love the Dodgers to this day because of how dominant and how fun Fernando Valenzuela was. I mean, he was just we loved him in the United States. They loved him in Mexico. And I mean, it just brought both sides together down there in LA. And he's still one of the most fascinating pitchers that has ever pitched in the major leagues. Well, Shōta Imanaga, to be in that conversation is really something. And here is a guy who came over from Japan. Obviously, you know the story about how the Cubs got him, but he chose the Cubs, not just the Cubs chose him. It wasn't like, I'm just going to give you the most amount of money and you're going to come play for us. This was a deal that was built on incentive, and it was built on a mutual agreement that both sides wanted each other. Shōta wanted to be a Cub, and the Cubs wanted Shōta to be a Cub, which is really special. And that always has reminded me of Andre Dawson, with the blank check and saying, hey, you guys, or the blank contract, you guys just pay me what you want. I'm coming because I want to be a Cub. You don't see that a whole lot in baseball, but just like the Hawk, Shōta is winning us over game by game. So that's just so cool and so exciting. And, we'll see what happens. Now, Cubs made a trade. We talked about it on a quick short if you watched that, but I'm going to get into it a little bit more right now. They traded Richard Lovelady, left-hander, to the Rays, and they get back Jeff Belge. Belge, a left-hander. He is from, was from Tampa Bay, but he was originally signed by the Dodgers, drafted in 2019 out of St. John's University. But he was also drafted by the Red Sox in 2016 in the 32nd round out of Anthony Hanniger High School, but decided to go play college baseball. He's a left-hander who strikes out a lot of batters, but also walks a lot of batters. He's been in Double-A Montgomery this year and last year. So he's kind of been stuck in that double A level. Last year, though, did good, 6-1 record and a 3.48 ERA. That was in 51 in 2/3 innings, and he only allowed 42 hits. 31 walks and 74 strikeouts. The Cubs are going to try to shave that walk number down, and that's been kind of the Achilles heel for this guy. But the strikeouts are there. Again, this year, a 1-1 record and a 4.20 ERA. You give up a left-hander in Lovelady. Lovelady was not getting it done, just a touch under an 8 ERA in the big leagues. And, it was just not getting out. So an easy move for the Cubs, who had designated him for assignment. And you also, with this deal, help out your organization because you lost Cole Franklin. We talked about that yesterday. Franklin had the elbow surgery, and he's going to be out 8 to 10 months. And then who knows how long the rehab goes and everything else. But he was one of your top prospects, number 26 on the list, I think. And then Richard Gallardo, another guy who was coming up through the system as a starter. Not sure exactly what his status is, but he had a blowout. So you need some arms. And then obviously all of the injuries at the major league level. And you're trying to figure out who's going to be able to come up and pitch for you and help out. Now, here's the update on some of those arms, right? You got Daniel Palencia, who is starting a rehab right now in the minor leagues. In Iowa now, and then that probably will lead him to Chicago. And basically, you just want to get as many of these guys back as you can. Jordan Wicks, who was in the starting rotation, I don't know if he's still going to be a starter when everyone's healthy again, but he's definitely pitched well enough in the big leagues to do that. It's just that the Cubs have no lefties in the pen right now outside of Luke Little, who's been very inconsistent with his command. But with that said, Wicks starting to work that journey back. Throwing program is happening, and we're expecting to see him on a minor league rehab next week. That also includes Drew Smiley, who's also starting to throw and working on being in the minor leagues next week to start pitching in games and getting ready. There's no telling how many games it's going to take for those guys to be ready. And along the same lines with Dansby Swanson, who's off the IL, we don't know if he's going to go see some action in the minor leagues before he comes back to the major leagues as well. So that's another thing to keep an eye on, because that's a possibility. They say he could be ready Tuesday, but does that mean he's ready for the Cubs, or does that mean he's going down to Iowa or Tennessee or wherever else to pitch? All right, lastly, but not leastly, we go for the split today. I love the energy that team brought yesterday. The fact that they just keep on fighting. I have so much respect. I've said this about the team, and I know a lot of you guys have in the comment section as well. It sucks when they lose, but at least with all of these injuries, these guys just continue to pound and pound away, and they did that yesterday. We'll see if they can get the bats going against Mitch Keller, a 4-3 record and a 3.93 ERA, and the Cubs will go with Jameson Taillon, who has been dealing with that lower back issue, but he's still having a great season. Looks like the guy that the Cubs paid the money to get. We didn't see this Jameson Taillon last year, except in maybe in New York when he pitched there, a couple places, but he's been really consistent this year, a 1.61 ERA. Not sure how many innings he's going to throw, but the fact that Shōta went 7 innings in his start yesterday, it makes you feel comfortable about what's available in the bullpen, right? Love the way that Leiter pitched. Love the way that Neris pitched. Could those guys come back? Only pitched an inning each. We'll see. But you didn't have to use some of the other guys because of the fact that Shōta continues to get out there and do big things on the mound. And the Cubs are off tomorrow, so they want to finish up this homestand with a win and do it against the Pirates, which would be fantastic. So that's where we are right now, or at least this series with a win. Split it right down the middle, and we'll rock and roll from there. Comment section, thank you guys, as always, for talking baseball with us. I'm just constantly amazed at how educated this baseball audience is. Now, there's a couple of you that I go, but I'd say, honestly, the majority of you guys really get the game, and it's been fun to connect with you. We'll continue to do that. And let's hope the Cubs get it done. If something breaks, I'll pop back on here and tell you about it. Like and subscribe. I'm asking you to do that because we're trying to grow this channel together, but feel like you're part of it. I mean, look, we hit over 5,000 subscribers. Who would have thought that? We got to keep growing and see where we're at when the trade deadline comes and a whole year of talking baseball together. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys. I really mean that. And go Cubs.